Bonjour, bonjour, c'est jeudi au soir. It's Thirsty Thursday, you guys. We're here in the forest for our romance oracle reading for the week. We're using the Romance Oracle Angels by Doreen Virtue. And I went ahead and pre-shuffled and pulled the cards. Since you can tell the picture's shaky, I'm just like holding the phone and like propping my arm on my knee. But we got SoulMate. Yes, this is a soulmate. Followed by, don't get too excited, deception. Someone is wearing a false self mask in this relationship. Heart-to-heart conversations. Honestly discuss your feelings with each other. Past life relationship. You have known each other before. Trust. The situation is calling for you to have faith. And unrequited love. There's not enough attraction or chemistry to keep this relationship going. So let's unpack. The situation you might find yourself in is that you might be confused because something might seem one way and it is another. And it's because, like we've been talking about recently, we're going through these initiations and tests and trials that are testing our wisdom that we have gained up to this point. And so we're having to put it into practice and embody that wisdom. And so we're coming up against tests. And, you know, we've been warned that something big is taking place right now. And so what basically the message is saying that, like, yeah, the situation you might be finding yourself in, whether you're already in it, whether you're about to be in it, or, you know, it's coming up around the corner, or you just have come past it, but I think that you're probably kind of in it or about to be in it right now. That yes, whatever has played out and transpired was a soulmate contract, and it wasn't that you had kind of any choice in the matter but to be faced with this, so you can't beat yourself up about what took place. That was part of the lay of the land in the gauntlet, in the forest where the hero's journey happens. And so it was a lesson that was all set up to happen and play out that way, the way that it did. And so you had to figure out where and what your part was in that situation and where you're at currently. However, part of that is coming to terms with the fact that some of it was based under false pretenses. So your discernment has to come into play. You have to figure out that somebody was wearing a false mask in the situation, and that was part of the lesson that you were sharing that was playing out. Now what is being asked is to have a heart-to-heart conversation and honestly discuss your feelings, which if you're in a situation that is uncomfortable and you're facing it, you're not going to want to do it. And it's very important that you practice restriction and that you're coming from a builder consciousness and not a destroyer consciousness. And so you can only say what is coming from reflection and not out of malice, and what's coming out of unconditional love and acceptance that this was an assignment. And from here, you both played your roles. So you accept that this was of the creator, but from now, it's like, what are you going to do with it now? Are you going to keep on playing out a toxic pattern? Are you going to observe this and adjust and then, you know, not beat yourself up? You know, we talk about the opponent having that masculine force to trip you up the first time, but also the feminine force comes in to trip you up the second time and to make you feel guilty and ashamed and have despair. And so just remember not to despair and to trust not this person, because trust was broken. And so now boundaries need to be remade, and maybe even separation. But trust in the universe that the energy that you have put into this and other things that haven't worked out can be transferred into something else, as long as you don't short circuit and self-loathe or react in bitterness or judgment or malice. You don't act in resign and despair, and you don't settle. You're holding strong to your vision for yourself, and you're continuing on and waiting for the universe to send you what's in true alignment. But this is a past life situation, replaying again. If it was familiar, like we talked about, this thing was coming around, it was going to be very familiar. It's because it was. And so that's one layer of like the context of this soulmate relationship. It's not that necessarily this person is meant to be in your life ongoing. It's just that this is a past life situation that is coming around again to be resolved, so that you can finally be done with this pattern and move forward into a new timeline as the new self, not playing out this old story over and over and over again. So think back to the last time in your life, in this incarnation, you probably not only met this person in the past life, but you probably met a person already in this life that was very similar storyline. How did that play out? What was your role in that situation? What did you bring to the table? What was your side of it? And how did you behave following that? You know, what was your response? Was it, were you in creator consciousness? Were you in cause consciousness? Or were you in effect consciousness? Were you victimized? So choose wisely what you communicate and how you move forward, and what you choose not to communicate. But just know that the universe has communicated clearly that something in this situation is not, it's not right. It's not for you, it's not requited, it's not equal, it's not authentic on both sides. So it's best for you to trust that the soulmate contract is now complete, that yes, you have indeed been deceived, and this person may choose to come clean, and if so, be open and receptive to having a understanding and merciful conversation. You know, don't short circuit all your spiritual work because you want to take a stab or a dig. If you feel hurt, or if you feel like you're on the other side of this, like, don't feel defensive or whatever if you're the person who has to kind of open up and have the heart to heart. And so either way, it's coming from both sides. And so you may feel defensive, and you may feel like you want to be avoidant, but it's important that you face this moment with integrity and vulnerability and honesty and authenticity, but with strength and with your boundaries intact. And yeah, and ultimately choose forgiveness. And it doesn't have to be a sentimental kind of forgiveness. It can be like, all right, both debts paid, both sides are even, contract complete kind of forgiveness, you know, student debt forgiveness. All right, you guys, I am going to finish this lovely day. I have been catching up on some projects around the house. I'm going to do a little bit of gardening. I'm going to do some dancing. I'm going to throw down in the kitchen tonight, make a big Cajun pot of something. I am torn between jambalaya and Cajun beans and rice, and I think I'm leaning towards Cajun beans because jambalaya is very involved. It takes a lot of prep, very long cook. Yeah, I eat, well, who dat? Y'all be good, but not too good. Ciao.